What's up, YouTube? It's your girl DeeDee. Welcome back to the channel. So I'm back with another reaction video for you guys. Now, I'm sure the majority of you remember the Brick Lady, aka Rhoda Osmond, right? Rhoda Osmond that effed around and found out that she can't just go out here and create lies and think that she's going to get away with it. So I covered this story in my live, one of my recent live streams, and I talked about it, but I want to go in a little bit deeper and kind of bring back the whole story of Miss Rhoda Osmond. Shout out to Queen of Accountability once again. She broke this case open. There was a lot going on with this case, she's posted a lot of this on her social media profiles, which if you haven't checked her out on Instagram, go check her out, and on YouTube. She really, stayed on this case and broke this case. And now this woman is being held accountable for her actions. She basically said, now, get into the thick of it and give you the backstory on it. But she basically said that a man hit her with a brick, if y'all remember. And, a lot of black men just sat around and watched while a man hit her in the face with a brick, and the whole thing was a lie. There were a lot of women and men who went to her aid and went to her defense, bashing black men, saying this is what black men do, automatically just believing her and taking her side without any evidence or any proof that what she was saying was actually the truth. And in actuality, it was all a sham and a scam and a lie. She also used this information to create a GoFundMe to capitalize off of her lie, which now she has to pay for. So shout out to the Queen of Accountability once again for breaking this case and seeing this through, because if she hadn't, this woman would have gotten this GoFund money and she would have went off and sailed off into the sunset with this money, and people would have believed her, and nobody would have ever questioned whether she was lying or not, because remember, you're supposed to believe all women. But because the Queen of Accountability stayed on this case, because she realized that what this lady was saying didn't add up, and she stayed on this case, and now this woman is being held accountable. So this should be a testament to how you should respond and act in a situation like this, because there are a lot of women who are being abused or taken advantage of, but because the women who lie about it just on the sheer idea that you're supposed to just believe her based on her word, it's something you have to start paying attention to now. Get the evidence. Not saying that you shouldn't look into a case when a woman comes, with a claim, but you need to, you don't dismiss her, but you have to look at the evidence as well and make sure that it is what she says it is. You just don't, because women do lie, right? Y'all got to know that. So women can't lie. And this was a clear indication of that. So we're going to get into the video, and I'll shout out to the Queen of Accountability once again. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, and many other content creators who talked about this and brought this to the light. But I want to share what O'Shea had to say as well, because his videos are awesome, and I wanted to share his thoughts on this as well. But let's get into this video. Make sure you chime in the comments below. Did you believe her in the beginning of this situation? Because based on what I saw in the beginning of this claim by Rhoda Osmond, I did a video on it, and I did not believe what she was saying because it did not add up. And, common sense, you have to use your common sense and stop reacting off of your feelings and your emotions, and look at what's there, and also look deeper to get more information before you just automatically believe what a woman says. Because see, if a man claims something like this, a lot of women aren't jumping to his defense. But when it's a woman, just jump to her defense. She could say anything, just, oh, it's the truth, it's the truth. And this clearly shows you that that is not always the case. And you shouldn't just go based off your emotions and your feelings, but look at all of the information that is presented and then make your judgments off of that. So we're gonna hop right into the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you like the content. Share it and like the video. Turn on that notification bell to be notified when I upload new content, all right? Let's get into it. Here we go.
Daphne, I already got you in a chokehold. Say sorry. Publicly apologize. Because if you don't, I swear to God, those Tasha K tears, we're gonna put them on t-shirts and make even more money off of you. I I love fuck around and find out.
We begin with some late breaking news. Fox 26's Sherman DeSalle joining us live from the newsroom now with what's going on here. Sherman.
Yeah, so there's a few top stories that we're looking at. GoFundMe schemers found guilty tonight. Car crashes into a vet clinic in Montgomery County and fire scorches land in Galveston Island. That's some of the top stories tonight. Let's start with that GoFundMe scheme story. Remember Rhoda Osmond? We talked about her a few times for the last couple of years. In 2023, she was known as the Brick Lady online. She made claims that a man threw a brick at her head outside of a bar in West Houston because she didn't give him her phone number. Well, she went on to collect $42,000 through a GoFundMe campaign she started after that. Well, a Harris County jury found her guilty of theft. She has to spend 90 days in jail, 10 years probation. She has to pay restitution, 10 years of no social media, which is big for her brand.
Now, before we move on, that is the penalties that she's been given. 90 days in jail. Yes, she has to pay that $42K restitution, that money from that GoFundMe, because she was not hit in the face with a brick by a man. So it was all a lie. So she has to pay for that lie. 10 years of no social media, which is, I think that's adequate because, you get on social media, you post lies, and you're not just saying lies that only, can affect you. You created a lie that could have affected somebody else's life. Now, what if some man was picked up for possibly committing this crime and it really didn't happen? See, this is why this is dangerous and why you shouldn't just believe somebody just because they are a woman. People are calling for apologies from people on social media, content creators who believed her. They're calling for people to apologize because they automatically jumped on this and just said, oh my God, these men are this and they're that, and this is what they do. Y'all gotta stop that. But let's get into what O'Shea had to say. This happened September 3rd, 2023. He's gonna go into detail about it. Shout out to O'Shea. Make sure you go over and support his channel if you haven't already. I'll try to put the full link to his video in the description, but let's go ahead and get into what he had to say on this. Here we go.
On September 3rd, 2023, a group of male friends decided to go out to the nightclub in Houston. And of course, they had some young ladies with them. They bought a section and they was just chilling. And then one of the guys, Mr. Olan Douglas, saw a lady he thought was very pretty. He seen her and she was looking thick as F. So what did he do?
So from there, asked her if she wanted to come sit down in my section. She came over to sit down in the section. Well, no, she came over, but she said these ladies need to move if I was to sit here. They need to move. So for me to come here, they all need to leave. And then I said, well, I guess you're gonna have to stand up then. And then that was it. Never spoke to her, talked to her. I don't know who she is. This is really random.
I mean, he did what any dude would do. Why don't you come over here and enjoy the section? But of course, because she was down bad, she didn't want to go into the section with those other women. She said it like this: if I'm coming over there, they gotta move. And he told them, well, listen, they not going nowhere, so you gonna have to get your ass up out of here. Woo! He thought that was over, at least for the time being. But then Rhoda Osmond caught him coming outside of the club. She then began a fight with another lady in the crew. And then as he was trying to leave, going to an after-hour spot, she started fighting his ass. Eventually, he got away from her and he didn't think nothing of it.
Now, I forgot about this part of it. And I remember now it's coming back to me that, she got into an altercation with the guy. And then another woman she was arguing with as well outside the club. So this is where this all stemmed from. I kind of forgot about this part. Yeah, so she, and there are several videos of this lady all over social media arguing with people, starting trouble with folks, just out here acting a plumb fool. And so, just her reputation was not very well, from what she posted herself on social media. So there are a lot of accounts out there about her behavior and similar stories that she's done in the past, similar to this one, claiming, somebody hit her in the face. She had other similar claims that she put out there as well. And I think MTR kind of went over that as well. So this is why her credibility was kind of shot for those of us who were paying attention to this, we see that she's done something similar before. So it was a bit sketchy. And you kind of put 2 and 2 together and realize, wait a minute, this is her MO. This is what she does, and she's gotten away with it. And she thought this would be another situation that she would get away with as well. But here comes the queen of accountability, who stopped that in its tracks. Let's continue.
Until he was going viral on September 5th, 2025, and this happened.
I never did anything in my life to hurt anybody. Literally, a man asked me for my number. I said no, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men and was like, "What are you gonna do?" And I told all these men, like, "Yo, why this man got a brick on my face?" And he's holding a brick, and all these niggas watching, and nobody does nothing. And he hit me in my face, and then they all just watch.
Rhoda Osmond went on the internet and said that this particular brother, Olin Douglas, hit her in the face with a brick, and nobody helped her. Now, according to him, this happened days later as to why her face was like that. And again, her face, it was swollen, but it could have been an allergic reaction or something like that. There was no visible scars of any damage of a brick. It would leave like at least some scars on her face. That was not there. But what was there was that he was in a lot of trouble. And a lot of people was out there looking for him. They wanted to do harm. And one of the people that came to his defense was the queen of accountability.
Yes, ma'am.
Her also name is Daphne here on YouTube. And she thought that something was wrong with this case.
Rhoda could have had Olin Douglas unalived. I got to speak YouTube terms. Easy. Olin Douglas has a child. So when she put this lie out there, he was a mark. They were looking for this man. Whole time she was capping.
Now, I didn't know. I think I may have missed the fact that was the guy that she actually said did that. Said he got in a car and drove off or something like that. That is very serious and very dangerous. Like she said, that man could have been unalive. What if they found him and charged him with this based off of thank God you got to investigate these types of cases. And you have to look for evidence. You have to have evidence to sit up here and say that this man did that to you. There was a specific guy that she blamed that on. I forgot that part. That is, this is not a joking matter. This is why she's in jail now or having to do time, because you can't play with people's lives like that. And for anybody to come out and just do something so willy-nilly like that, baby, that's very dangerous. You have to be very mindful of these types of people because this could ruin somebody's life. This is crazy though. This is crazy. This crazy. Here we are, 2025, baby. And this story has come back around. She effed around and found out, baby, you just can't make shit up on people and just think that you're going to sail off into the sunset. Girl, get it together. Now she talking about Daphne gonna be crying and then she's sitting here crying in jail with the orange jumpsuit on looking a hot mess. You didn't think that was gonna happen, but you effed around and literally found out, baby. Your words came back to bite you in the butt. Let's continue.
On one end, she's saying that, listen, this black man attacked me, and then everybody else was going around saying, you black men do this to black women all the time. There was a content creator that's on TikTok by the name of Conscious Lee, and he was one of the people sticking up for her. But not only that, she raised $42,000 for this campaign. She's covering a lot of ground here. Number one, Mr. Olin Douglas is afraid for his life, and she has just raised $42,000 based on this accusation. But then the queen of accountability did some more research. And what did she find?
So I continued to do my investigation, and that is when I found that this loser did this scam before. In 2020 in Minnesota, she said she was assaulted by a man, right? Same narrative, same story. If you look at the date of when I posted this, her first scam, it says September the 4th at the bottom. I know a lot of y'all can't see it because I have a banner right there. I'm sorry, but it's on my Instagram. So when I saw that scam, I compared the scams. She got paid in the first scam too. And the crazy thing about it is when I sent this to the police, they got on it right away. This is what led to this woman being found guilty, the first scam. Now, I'm going to say shout out to her ex-friend, Rachel Moe, because Rachel Moe was actually there in 2020 when it happened. The only thing she didn't do was report it. And had she have reported Rhoda for the first scam, there wouldn't have been a second. But you know how it is when you have friends. A lot of women, they support their friends at the time.
Oh, yeah. She found out that she had did this same exact thing before in 2020. And it was so bad, her own best friend or former best friend outed her out. And so, of course, she was eventually picked up. I believe in 2024, the Houston Police Department picked her up and arrested her. And that was kind of the beginning of the end. And you would have thought she would have had a different attitude. I mean, she was going on trips. She was going on to Jamaica, spending the money. And she never came out and said, I'm sorry.
Right. And also, I think if I'm not mistaken, she threatened Daphne. She was going back and forth with Daphne on social media. Well, she was the one going at Daphne, threatening her and all of these different things because Daphne was, holding her feet to the fire. And so it's just, it's just crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's crazy as hell. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think I've ever seen a case quite handled in this way, or you've seen an outcome like this where we get to see that there was some accountability taken for somebody who blatantly sits up and lie like this, go to the hospital, cries, snot, tears, and crying, and that just got everybody, and they just jumped on and believed her. And just because you think men are just that horrible that they're just gonna stand around, throw a brick at a lady for no reason, and then run off. You know what I'm saying? Y'all really don't have much faith in black men or think that there are any good black men out here. So when somebody says something so salacious, you just automatically believe it, which is crazy to me. And so, yeah, that shows you this is her MO. This is the stuff that she does. And she did not bank on or think about somebody actually following up on this case and doing something about it. This is why people like Daphne are necessary, because hadn't she not done that, this woman would have got away with this, got that money, and when she spent, when she spent all that money, she'd be doing it again. Let's continue.
When people ask me how do I deal with the constant bullying online, it's actually quite simple.
All I gotta do is consider the source. Because these are the people that would have sold us into slavery. These are the same people that Harriet Tubman would not just leave behind. She would have had to pew their ass. They would have infiltrated the Black Panther Party and probably set up Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. And every time we have a current advancement of black people, here they are doing a disruption. They spent their whole online presence and activity just bullying black people, exploiting us, and quite frankly, embarrassing us. I know when you go viral, you neither have a past or a future. In a lot of people's heads, you're just that moment and you never leave there. But I know the extensive work that I've done to advocate for the black community, and my character stands for itself. These people don't really care about black folks because they only punch down on people that they see a perceived lack of consequence.
This is ironic. Social media is forever. What you put on social media is there. So you can't dispute it. The fact that she's saying this, it shows you the hypocrisy in the way she's speaking. She's literally talking about herself. You talk about the things that you do in support of the black community, but you're not really doing that. If you can turn around and lie on, someone in your community and say that they did you something that clearly they didn't do, how is that in support of your community? And she's black, but she's Somalian, right? And I'm just saying, it really doesn't matter. It's just the fact that you will sit here and lie and talk about how you are in support of something that you're really not. But this is why you have to watch a person's actions, not just what they say, because everybody could speak a good game. Everybody could come out and say something that sounds good to reel you in. But what are your actions? And the things that she posted on social media shows a completely different action. It's not like this is a humble woman who's not bothering anybody and not talking crazy. She talked crazy all over social media, do strange things, and then claim you're in support of the black community when you have a history of doing the opposite. Let's continue.
White supremacist tactics on me when I studied black studies to a doctoral level is actually kind of funny.
Now, this is interesting. Now, Rhoda Osmond is actually a Somalian American, okay? But she's saying that people who are criticizing her, and I would say anybody who just is, calling her out for what she's doing, basically They are the same people who would have sold us into slavery. That's interesting because Somalian groups in America never experienced, chattel slavery or nothing like that. She then says that the same people who criticize her are the same source of people that infiltrated the Black Panthers. They're the same people that will turn on MLK and Malcolm X. They're the same people who exploit blacks. Now, this particular strategy is all throughout the pro-black community, especially within Pan-Africanism. And you see this with, blacks that are on the left, liberal blacks, I would say the most do this. And, a lot of these people are feminists. A lot of these talking points come from people who also support the, LGBTQ community.
He's right. And, this is why I said it's hypocrisy, in my opinion. You talk about things that other people do, but you end up doing it yourself. And I noticed that even watching this lady on social media, like there's video after video of her out here acting crazy and doing things that does not reflect what she's saying. You know what I'm saying? And so it's your character. We have to look at the person's character, how they act, how they treat people, what they do versus what they say once again. And I think that's all it is. It's a deflection. It's a way to deflect off of, take the deflection off of you and point it somewhere else. But a lot of times when people do that, they're usually the ones doing the very things that they're saying. Usually the very thing that people complain about, that's the very actions that they take and the very things that they actually do. And so, one thing I'll say with this whole situation is you got to be careful about, who you listen to and the people, that you follow and listen to. And don't be so readily, easily and readily to jump up to the defense of somebody if you don't have all of the information. This is a lesson that people have to learn, that listen, just because you are a woman doesn't mean that you can't lie. She just basically sit there and told a bold-faced lie, made it all up, could have threatened this man's livelihood, and others based off of a lie, while she was trying to benefit off of it because she was able to get away with it before. So this idea and this narrative of believing all women needs to go out the window. I think you need to listen to what a person has to say. If they make a claim, you need to investigate that claim. You need to thoroughly investigate what the person is saying, their actions, put it all together and find a solution to get to the root of the problem. If it's really something that happened, then the dots should connect. You should be able to connect the dots and there should be evidence to prove what that person is saying. If somebody's just made up something, there's no proof, there's no evidence, the dots don't connect, then you have to thoroughly investigate that to see if they're actually telling the truth and get to the bottom of it. This is why there are investigations, to get to the root of an issue, to see if it's truthful or if it's not. But to just automatically believe somebody and take them to their defense and start just bashing others for something you have no proof of is something that has to change. And we do that a lot in this country. People just, especially when it's a claim against a black man. Y'all got to stop thinking that all black men are just these heathen, criminals that's ready to do something to you when that is just not the case. And this proves it. And once again, shout out to O'Shea, shout out to the Queen of Accountability, because at least we have a situation where a woman is being held accountable. She's actually gone to jail for lying and committing a crime. And this is what needs to happen when you have people who commit crimes like this. If you commit a crime, you're supposed to do the time. And it's not just for men, but it's for everybody or anybody who decides to lie and commit crimes and think that they're going to get away with it, because it seems like nobody really cares about the black man. So people just use that as a way to get over. So nobody's going to care. They're just going to believe me. So I can say whatever I want about a black man because they're disposable. And I can just say whatever, capitalize, get money, because women are just going to jump to my defense and they're going to give me money and everybody's going to believe me and I'm going to sail into the sunset and just be happy and laugh at it until it's time to do it again. That has to stop. So hopefully this will learn a lesson to her and many others as to what not to do in these situations. Don't just jump because somebody cry wolf and say, oh my God, this has happened. No, wait, get some evidence, get the proof. And then if it's the truth, then you can support that person if you choose to. But if it's a lie, no. Get the evidence to prove what it is and then you move forward. So listen, once again, y'all, let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I definitely want to hear from y'all. Comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell. Y'all know what it is. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.